So again, welcome everyone. A couple of things, if you're good, I need some information from you. I need to share out some stuff. And then if you're okay, I'll do my check-in with you guys at the end to see how you're doing. That way I make sure we get through everything.
Good.
One of the things Kaylee and I are working on is creating a template of who's using what curriculum at each level of instruction. Next year, our reading specialists are going to come to your buildings and help. And ahead of time, what curriculum you're using is going to be helpful. So if I could start with you, Richard, and just if you know what your core curriculum is, and then your tier 2 intervention, and then that.
So we have tier 1 is our journeys, that's our school-wide. And then for our tier 2 and tier 3, it's a combination we have between SIPs, Read Naturally, and we got a new one, and I can never remember if it's Power Up or Reading Up or Power something. It's a new one this year.
I'll put Power Up, and then we'll go from there. And you say that's the same for tier 3?
Yeah, just different levels between the SIPs, and so more
Sure.
intensity.
Sure. And is Power Up in that?
Yes.
And this, I should say, special ed, not tier 3, but for simplicity, that's what I'm doing. Kim, can you tell me what you're using?
So for our tier 1, our school-wide curriculum is open up resources / EL education. And we use that K through 5th grade.
Okay.
And then tier 2 is just pulling the same materials from that curriculum into our tier 2 in the classroom or tier 2 in title services. So we're practicing the same like spelling pattern, same decodable books, same everything, just giving them more touches on the same curriculum.
Okay.
And we also in that tier 2 use just from the ISIPs if we're noticing that they need more support with vocabulary or a specific kind of spelling pattern, then we can put a little bit of that from the ISIP testing.
iStation testing, or is it ISIPs?
It's the same.
Oh, okay. So iStation. Okay. Let me just. And then for special ed?
She does the same sort of using the EL education and just pulling those same concepts in. It's kind of an interesting situation because K through 5th grade for academic support, we only have 1 student in 3rd grade.
Perfect. Jeannie.
We adopted HMH into reading, and we've been very pleased to discover that it has tier 3 and tier 2 and tier 1. So other than quite a bit of iStation intervention and Read Naturally, we're pretty exclusively using that program at all tiers, just the materials that are provided. And I have several teachers that are part of the SMART project this year. And they've been using quite a few things that those instructional coaches have been bringing to the school.
Okay. And those resources should be very similar to the resources that we have posted on the Idaho Training Clearinghouse as far as the
Yes.
videos and routines.
Right, right. And in most cases, they're nearly identical, if not identical.
Fabulous. How about you, Shane?
There we go. CKLA for grades 1 through 2, and then grades 3 through 5 is sorry, the name's escaping me. 3 through 5. Oh, it's called I'm drawing a blank.
That's
Uh,
okay.
I'll email it to you. Tier 2 would be iStation interventions. And tier 3 is SIPs.
Perfect.
I believe it's SIPPS. Just for,
Oh. Yeah, I am a bit off on my spelling this
yeah,
morning.
it's an
Like,
acronym. It's alphabet
yeah.
soup.
So with that, just so you know, we're putting together just a way to better support when Lexi and Shelby come out next year. They're going to know what curriculum you're using, know your interventions, and be able to hit the ground running. So that's one of the reasons we're trying to pull together this table of districts and curriculum. The other thing I wanted to talk about is at the Spring Institute, we present a celebration of what has happened within each of your buildings over the course of the year. So if you would put together either an email of what has been positively going on. Last year, one of our districts did a videotape of a celebration of some of the things that they had in their school. They had this chart on reading proficiency, and they had what it looked like in the fall and what it looked like in the spring. We have somebody here at the department that's going to pull it all together into a short video that can be shared out with other people on celebrations. So one of the things, if you need some help or some ideas, let me know. I will see if I can grab what Kaylee did last year and send it out to you so you can have an idea of what some people did. Again, it's really important when we're doing hard work that we celebrate our successes and we celebrate our teachers and our students and you guys as administrators leading the charge. I feel it's really important that we take the time to really just celebrate. So with that being said, we would like to get that created because our training is June 13th. So I will see if Kaylee can send me the celebration video from last year. I'll put it in my reminder or my email following this meeting. And if you could send me some information, that would be fabulous. Any questions? Jeannie's giving me a no, Richard's a no, so, okay. Dyslexia legislation. let's all take a collective deep breath and let it out. I have been working with the curriculum department and also the new special ed director for the state, who is collaborating with the content department to approve the 15 hours of PD that is required by the end of next year. And what we submitted last year under a different administration, we've been asked to resubmit for this administration. And so that'll be done on Monday. I've been working with Lexi and Shelby to address all the pieces and parts of the legislation. And what we're going to do is reflect on participants attending the Fall Institute, the monthly calls, and the Spring Institute for that 15 hours. We are hoping to have some reflection on them doing it this year, if we can get that passed. If not, and again, election year, new administration, new application, we do have until the end of the 2024 school year to get the PD requirement. This will be available to any of your elementary teachers because it's elementary focused. And because it's virtual, even if they're not participating fully in the project, if they attend the virtual Fall Institute, the monthly meetings in the spring, they could get that PD. Questions?
So Shannon, you're talking for the 23-24 school year in terms of getting this approved for the 15 hours, the credit hour for our dyslexia requirement?
We are trying very hard to honor the work that was done this year.
Okay.
But if the application does not let us take into what we did this year, it will for sure be reflective next year.
Okay. So we're trying to get the teachers that did this year, the institute, the monthly trainings and the spring institute, we're trying to get that through to count for their 15 hours, their 1 credit hour. Or if not, then it would be for next year. We could do it again next year.
Correct.
Okay.
And it would be the same. Individuals participating in the project, it's nothing new. It's just what they would be doing. What we're trying to do is open it up to your other teachers as well. Just because you're participating in our project and it's virtual. So
Okay.
we don't, we would not open it up to middle school or high school because it really is not going to be applicable. It really is going to be an elementary focus.
Thank you.
But I wanted to give you an update because we're getting a lot of inquiries right now because we're just finishing up the training piece of it, which is that just, you know, the 4-hour professional development piece. But the legislation also talks about this 15 hours of PD. The legislation wasn't clear if it needed to be tied to a university credit. That's the other thing that I will be working on. Because if it must be tied to a university credit, I'll work on that as well, but then that ends up being an expense that you can either utilize the allocation that Kaylee already has for those people participating, but not the non-participators. It gets a little muddier if we have to do it through a university. It's less muddy if we don't. So Shane.
Yeah, just for those of you that do your billing on that, do not put it through as Title II monies. Title II money will not work for dyslexia. So you have to use your PD general fund money.
However, if you will indulge me a second, I believe I read someplace that the legislature had afforded some funds to be used by districts to meet this requirement.
Yeah, that may have just come through, but just last week I had a rejection of $99 for one credit of the 15 hours through Title II. So it's a state requirement, but you would need to call the Title II coordinator to make sure that you can submit for reimbursement on that. But the those in participating in the cultivating readers, you can put it right through Kaylee.
Yes, and that's done through the GRA, which is
Yeah.
that grant
Grant
system.
reimbursement application. So
Correct.
just
So
be careful. I just don't want anybody doing more work than they have to, because it kind of sucks doing more work.
totally get that. So one of the, so I found the email. Now I've got to pull it up.
And thank you, Shannon, for going over this. Yeah, they just sent out this last week, this email, I believe, Monday.
Yes, so you should have gotten something from the State Department of Ed on March 30th that was sent to all district and charter administrators. And so the PD requirement is not reoccurring. So once we get through the application process, know that it's been on the approved list, then we will help you do this. But JFACT allocated 1.5 million for the professional development the current school year. We are allocating this professional. We'll send districts 1,500 base amounts and 126 per instructional FTE to cover the costs of the professional development. What is confusing, and I don't want to be confusing, but it is confusing. They use the words PD interchangeably between the 15 hours and then the short training. And so you have to really understand that there are two requirements under the legislation that states by the end of this school year, everybody has to have the training. And that's what we offered both in October, and we're currently here in April. And the State Department has other offerings as well. But then there's this 15-hour expectation that must be completed at the end of next year. And that requirement is what we're trying to tie to the Fall Institute, the monthly calls, and the Spring Institute, because your staff is already doing those activities. Other questions on that? But I would pull this up because you're going to have money to cover the professional development for the 22-23 school year. For those of you that have attended our training, you could apply it to that. If your staff have done other dyslexia training, you could apply it to that as well. Okay. So any questions on the dyslexia legislation?
Shannon, I'm sorry, I'm late to the meeting, and just really quick, Did you say that you're still working on this year's time that our teachers have spent with the collaboration meeting and the June to go towards the credit?
Correct.
Okay.
Under
we're-
the new administration, we're having to resubmit the application.
Okay.
And I have been working with content and the new SPED director, Julie Mead. I have sent everything to Lexi and Shelby. They submitted an application last September, but the application changed under the new administration. So they will be resubmitting under the new application on Monday. And then I'll wait to hear back from Julie and Megan on whether it was accepted.
Okay, thanks so much.
And the goal is if they accept what we did this year, fantastic. We will have met the obligation. If not, we will build anything they want into next year to ensure everybody who is participating is able to complete the requirements. So Kelly, what the other thing you missed was, if it's approved, when it's approved, even if it's next year, your staff who are not participating in everything could attend the virtual Fall Institute, the monthly calls and the virtual spring educational section and still get that PD credit.
Okay. All right,
What
thank
they
you.
won't get is we tie it to a book study and people in the project get the book next year. So all your staff that are participating will be getting this book that Lexi and Shelby will be doing a book study for next year. It won't be, non-participants will have to get their own book.
Okay. All right. Sorry about.
No, no, I totally get it. It's just, it's so complex and it happened, you know, in election year. So it would have been helpful if the language of the legislation was clearer than it is. And so there's a lot of different interpretations from one administration to another. So the next thing I just want to touch on was we have already set the dates and the registration, and I'm going to give it to you next month for the Fall Institute. You all will attend a one-day in-person based on your region in August, and then instructional staff will attend a virtual day. It's either I think it's the first week in August. And knowing how to communicate with your staff over the summer so they know, one, how to register for the various things, even though I'm going to send out give the registrations to you in May. We're currently working on the hotel contracts. So Kim and Shane and Richard, we will be at the Nampa Civic Center again. But Kelly, you'll get to choose whether you want to go to Boise or Idaho Falls. Jeannie, you'll go to Idaho Falls. Where last year we brought everybody to Boise for the 2 days. In years 2, 3, and 4, we're in Idaho Falls, Boise, or Nampa, and Coeur d'Alene. So, and it's only a one-day training. If you will be traveling more than 50 miles one way, we do offer you hotel rooms and per diem. Lunch will be served, and then being able to contact your staff. I tend to send things to their school email address, but not everybody checks their school email address over the summer. So wanting to just give you a heads up that I will be sending out stuff in mid-July on registrations, but in May, hotel rooms and all those other things. Any questions on that? Okay. Not being year round, sometimes it's like people say they don't get my emails because it's summer. Sarah, welcome. After this is, we had some discussion around the legislation that you had been in touch, and they changed the applications. We're reapplying. Everything should be submitted on Monday, and I should know something soon.
Okay, and then you'll let us know.
Of course.
Thank you. Sorry I
So,
was late.
nope, totally get sick kids.
Yes.
The other thing is, really encouraging you to identify that second parent to be part of your building leadership literacy team. You do not get rid of this year's parent. This year's parent serves 2 years and helps mentor that new parent. And so really encouraged, because we would love to provide serving on groups training prior to them coming to this Fall Institute in August. So I'm going to be asking for email addresses of the new parent here soon. So with that being said, has anybody identified their parent yet? Oh, Sarah, I love the positive affirmation. Anybody else?
I have one parent that's waiting. Let us know.
Fabulous, great. Is there anything I can do to help in that parent recruitment piece? Okay, in the agenda is the links to attend the Spring Institute. The Spring Institute is virtual. In the morning, we will be meeting with the multi-tiered discipline or multi-tiered system of support building leadership team. And then in the afternoon is for your instructional staff and your coaches. And this will be, we will be reviewing IRI data and areas that across the state or across the program scored lower and might need some intensification. So that's what the reading instruction, it is encouraged to have everybody register early rather than right up to the last minute. It helps us know how to configure the breakout rooms and some of those other things. Questions? I also have on my calendar, we ran a focus group, multiple focus groups with parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators. And Kaylee said, please talk to them about the results of the focus group. And then she had a baby, and I have searched every place and I cannot find the results. So I will attach those for your ability to look over that evaluation to see what our focus groups. We're constantly trying to improve the practices of our work here to support your work in your buildings. And that's what the focus groups, and that's where we really are pushing some of the parent pieces, because the parent interviews seemed to reflect parents not knowing their role. So we need to do a better job of helping define that. Some thoughts that they were only there for a year and it wasn't enough time to get truly engaged in the work. But I will work really hard to locate with Kaylee's assistance that report and share it out with you. So, we had a couple of people join us. At the beginning of this call, I'm collecting curriculum data on what you're using as your tier 1, tier 2, and special education. So Kelly, can you share with me what your core curriculum is?
Our core curriculum is Wonders. And then we also use the Wonder Works for our tier 2 intervention.
And what for special ed?
For special ed, we're using Wonder Works unless they are 2 years below grade level. And then we are using, oh, my mind just went blank, I'm sorry. My mind just went blank. What our special ed teacher is using, because we were using WonderWorks in there, and then if they're two years below, she's using it's not Read Naturally.
Reading mastery?
Yes, thank you. Sorry.
No.
We had 8 inches of snow this morning with a school closure, and I've just been like trying to, anyways, yeah.
It's April.
I know, that's what we said. So I apologize. Yeah, that is what we're using for.
Okay, thank you. Sarah.
For our core instruction, we're in EL education school, so we use EL skills block and expeditionary learning in there. Our tier 2, I again am forgetting the name of it, just like you and Shoshone. I will think of it by the end of this meeting. And our tier 3, our special education students are using Sunday system, the Orton Gillingham.
What's it called?
Sunday or Sunday system, depending on how you SONDY system. And it's an Orton Gillingham based approach.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing we chatted about is we're creating a celebration video. So we would like you to send your celebrations. I am going to attach last year's celebration for you so you can see how we compile the information. And we would hope to have that in May. So we are able to have that video ready on the 15th. Or sorry, the 13th of June. Can you believe it's April? This year is almost over and you guys have survived the first year of the project. I would like to take a moment and check in and see, how are you guys doing?
Shannon,
Yes.
I give hope to those that forgot some of their curriculum that I remembered mine. It does come back. It's weird. Hey, could I ask you to go back to Rolling Hills on the tier 1? You see, for grades 3 through 5, it's units of study.
Oh, units of study. Okay.
And for tier 2 is what do I say, iStation and Read Naturally. We also use tier 2. Thank you. Sorry.
No,
to
thank
interrupt,
you.
but yeah, it's been a long year.
So let's check in. Kelly, I think you're the winner with 8 inches of snow today. So I'm gonna let you start. How are you holding up? How are things going? And do you need anything from us?
I think things are going well. I think we have a lot of systems in place. Our goals are in line with what we're doing. My teachers seem to be doing well. We have 3 more modules left and we'll have completed the second set of modules. I think, by April, everybody's a little bit tired. coming back off of spring break, and we've had the winter up here that just keeps on giving. But I feel like the project has been very valuable. And what's been really fun for me is seeing through the modules and also through our collaboration calls, my teachers implementing the explicit instruction. And it looks different in every classroom, but I'm excited about that. And my teachers are excited about it. I have a couple of naysayers right now that are a little bit, we're working on that. But that's a little bit frustrating for me just because I am excited about it, and I am excited about having consistency down my hallway. And then when you have somebody that can really spoil the whole bunch sometimes based on their attitude, that is a little bit frustrating, but more so frustrating that their students wouldn't benefit from the instructional practices. And so really, I just feel like I just appreciate what you all are doing. Last night at the collaboration call, we had trouble with the internet. So I don't know if that was Lexi or if that was us, if anybody else had that issue.
I am not sure, but it was recorded and I'll get it posted and sent out to you guys.
Yeah, we ended up just logging off because we were getting, it'd be probably about 2-3 minutes silence, and then we'd get a few words and then some silence. And so instead of using the teacher's time last night, I thought it would be better used to listen to the recording.
Most definitely. Technology is fabulous until it doesn't work.
Yeah. And I don't know whose end it was, but either way, I felt bad. I think they did a nice job, but we could see. And then the book study that you talked about next year, does that have anything to do with the slides that they did? There was one, it was a phonics book that she had on her slide. I wrote it down, but I don't have it with me right now.
Keep chatting and I'll grab the book.
Okay. Did anybody else have problems with the internet when you logged on last night for the collaboration call? No, good. It must have been our end then.
I didn't go on it, so I don't know. I can't give you good
Okay.
feedback on that.
So in years 2, 3, and 4, there's different books that they're utilizing to just help ground the work. So next year, you probably can't see this.
Yeah.
It's called Equipped for Reading Success.
Okay.
Every one of your teachers who are implementing explicit instruction, videotaping, and receiving coaching, and your coach will receive this book. And during the monthly calls, it's not totally going to be focused on the book, but they're going to keep referencing back to the strategies that are outlined in Equipped for Reading Success. It's a comprehensive step-by-step program for developing phonemic awareness and fluent word recognition. They're working really hard. They chose this because consistently it's where in the IRI scores, in the foundational skills, students aren't getting as proficient as we would like them to be. So it was an additional resource. In year 3 of the project, the book study will be on vocabulary. And then in year 4, it will be on comprehension. So at the end of the 4 years, your teachers will be very grounded in reading instruction across those contents. Sarah, I am going to pick on you next. How are things going for you?
Good. We're really getting some good systems in place for our MTSS. We just held another round of MTSS meetings, and I asked for feedback from all the teachers on what's working, what's not working, what's helpful. And it seems to be nice that we're having these consistent meetings, because it's something that easily gets pushed aside. And I mean, in the meetings when we're meeting with each teacher, with our title teacher and our special ed teacher and myself, and then talking about our MTSS students and how they're moving through the tiers. So that's been really great. Right now, what we're really working on is all the dyslexia guidance and just making sure that we're doing the right thing and doing that tier 2 screener. And then so now we have a few students that we've done the tier 2 screeners, and now we're at the point, okay, now what? So we've scheduled those meetings with those teachers to talk about if they're in the tier 2 intervention already, is that working for them? Do we need to bump them into tier 3 and try that Sunday system or in Gillingham base and see if we see some progress there, and then go on from there. So we're just kind of figuring out all of that based on the legislation, and not wanting to forget something we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, there's so much, so much. If there's anything we can do to support that, please let me know, and we'll do what we can.
Thanks. Just keep answering my emails when I send those random questions. It's
I
helpful.
do my best. Even if I don't know the answer, I typically know who to go to.
I
And
appreciate it.
like I said, your email prompted the conversation about the updated application. Lexi's gonna have it to me on Monday. Yeah, I mean, she's gonna show how they're interweaving the dyslexia strategies through the calls and through the Fall Institute. Explicit instruction helps all students. But they need to address some of that multisensory piece.
Mhm.
So that's what we're working on.
Thank you.
Yeah. How about you, Richard? How are things over in Caldwell?
Things are going pretty good. I think the MTSSR team is really, we're starting to kind of think about what next year is going to look like. We have built some systems in terms of our intervention program. So we're starting the conversation around what worked well this year, what we would like to keep, where a new motto has kind of come out, which is adopt, adapt, or or remove. There you go. So adopt, adapt, remove. Like, is it working? We're not going to do it. If it's not working, let's not do it anymore or whatever. So we're starting those conversations. We did our last kind of placement for the next 6 weeks of interventions. So we did kind of a movement and seeing how students are moving through tiers. And then we're starting to kind of shift a little bit, starting to think about what next year is going to look like with master schedules, how much intervention time we need for our tier 3 instruction or tier 2 instruction, what's working, what's not. So we're doing okay. Kind of in a good spot.
Good. Well, again, don't hesitate to let me know. I know that you and I, were you able to run those IRI reports?
We're doing our monthly progress monitoring right now this week. And so I was going to wait until we were done with that and then run the reports and group them by classroom and grade level and then share those with you. But yes.
Work with your special ed department, because that can be student identifiable, and ask them to upload it to the secure server where I can grab them without it being in an email.
Okay. All right. I will try to figure all that out. That sounded very fancy.
Well, it's not. It really is asking, is it China? Just say, China, can you please upload these to the secure server for Shannon? She's going to grab them.
Okay.
There's legislation on the books that if we send student identifiable information through emails and a student is later identified, there can be a fiscal fine. And I'm just trying to prevent anybody from having to pay a fiscal fine.
I like that idea. That sounds great.
I would rather use money differently than giving it to the state of Idaho.
Yeah, no, let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeannie, how are you doing?
Like everybody, I think we're tired of winter. We had a little bit of drama at our school. We're at the year where our charter needed to be renewed. And it was discovered that the school had not been paying payroll taxes since 2014. So initially, the Charter Commission rejected our application for renewal, but long story short, we're renewed with some conditions, but anyway, so that kind of consumed our time for a little bit, but I feel like we're attempting to get back on track. Just warm weather and let us stay open. That's all we're asking for.
Any of the conditions related to instruction that we might be able to assist with?
Yes. We had 9 conditions. 6 of them revolved around the IRS payments, but 3 of them are academic: math, reading, and literacy. So we have really got to get those scores up.
Okay. If you
Yeah.
would like to have a secondary conversation with your team, with your whole MTSSR team on how you want to address that, let me know, and I'd be more than happy to step in.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're going to be ready for that soon.
Perfect. Kardine, do you want to add anything?
No, we just need to have that conversation. This year, we've had just a small group of teachers participating in all of the monthly calls and all of the things, but our staff is pretty small and we just need everybody to be involved in all of those things. So we just need to talk to you about that.
Perfect. More than happy to do that. And Shane.
All right, just stretching my legs. Good morning, and spent the night out last night camping out in front because our kids had read so many hours of reading that principal had to sleep outside last night. So we're celebrating reading.
Did you take pictures that you can send to us?
Yeah, I've got some pictures, and I have no battle wounds. All the kids got s'mores as we camped out and we watched a movie and celebrated reading and literacy. And I read a book to them at the end and then sent them home all sugared up and ready to go for their parents at 8 o'clock last night. But I now know when my cleaning people, we just hired some new cleaning people, they show up at 2:30 in the morning and they leave at 3:30. So I now know when they show up. Our parent for reading literacy has been awesome. She's working on finding somebody for next year, and we're working towards continuing her efforts because she's been combining her efforts with all of our literacy nights, and we are preparing for a May 4th, the Literacy Be With You literacy night on May the 4th. May the 4th. Yeah.
Is
Okay.
that a Star Wars reference?
Yes, very, very much so. Reading Be With You. So it will be happening, and she's got a lot of neat activities presented for our families at Literacy Night. We are also going to be incorporating our families in writing that night, and we have a prompt for them. The future of Rolling Hills is, and they're going to write about what the parents and students want Rolling Hills to be like in the future. So a little bit of strategic planning in writing and literacy and in all kinds of fun stuff. We did with our reading that I just did, our kids wrote book reports or book highlights to each other, and we posted them in our hallway so that kids can now select grade level fun books that others have read that maybe they might want to read. And we have them all in our library, so it's kind of fun. celebrations, definitely some cool celebrations since the beginning of the year. Our kindergarten IRI or I station growth has been 15%. Our first grade has been 26%. Second grade has been 3%, but they started at 93%.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay. And our third grade has grown 18%.
That's fabulous. That's
So
fabulous.
that's some pretty neat growth happening. I think that's more, the growth is more important than actually what the numbers are. But each growth pattern represents what we do at our charter school, which is personalized learning. And we personalize it for each student so that they get what they need when they need it. And we've been able to allocate the resources to make that happen. So it's been fun to watch it happen.
Fabulous. All right, well, you guys are amazing. I just wanted to say that. I find you all truly amazing. You're dedicated to the work. You're doing it with a level of fidelity that is evident in your numbers and the progress you're seeing. I'm going to give you 5 minutes back in your morning, and we will get together in May. I am going to, May 3rd is when we get together. What I'm going to do when I send out this information to you today will be add last year's celebration. And
Shannon, sorry
Yes.
to interrupt before you close. I have a short question, but I know it'll be a long answer, or it'll be an answer that we need to answer later.
what's that?
What's going on with the state's ice station and ISIP plan?
Currently, there is no identified changes. Are you hearing something else?
Yeah, my teachers were at the SMART conference yesterday and they were told that ISIPs are out. Ice station is no longer supported by the state. So just something we need to, because changes change, I get it, but I don't get this one.
Well, and I'll have to, because it is still going to be our IRI fall, winter, and spring. So I am not sure I know what was shared, but I know who to go talk to. And then I will add that to the email on what I find out. Okay. That now my head is spinning, so I will be back in touch. All right, thanks for your time and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Shannon.
Right, thank you.
Bye.